Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido and today it is the Holon Allies trying to be the side who can take down the Mellow Rumbles, as the Rumbles are the only side to not suffer a defeat here in the PokeType League. They have lost individual games but they have not dropped a series, going 3-0, whereas the Holon Allies have already had their bye. They have gone 1-1 and they want that second victory here today. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win. Will it be our rainbow decks? Will it be our fighting decks? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And having flipped heads, it will be that full combat deck for the Mellow Rumbles going first. They've got the Sandslash and the Hitmonlee, sorry, the Sandshrew and Hitmonlee, but they've also got the Sandslash in hand. It's the Holon Allies with their Dragon's Frost deck, and they've only got the Dratini that they can play in that active spot, but it's the Hitmonlee in the active spot for the Rumbles, and there's no benched Pokemon that they can target at the moment, as they do pull that Hitmonchan, and they've got the 2 X speeds, so they can go for those quick changes. Can that full combat deck as it goes over to the Holon Allies. They are able to pull the Snom, and they've got that Professor's Research as well. They've also got the Dragonair already in hand. They pull the Giovanni, they get a second Dragonair in place. They may be reluctant to play down that Snom though, with Hitmonlee being in that active spot, as they are going to think about how they want to approach this. They have to be cautious. They do send it back over to the Mellow Rumbles, who pull the Pokeball, and they've got that Sandslash. Surely they're going to want to get that online shortly, but it is that second Hitmonchan for the Rumbles being pulled from their deck. They can play that down immediately. It only requires 1 energy to go on the offensive, as that Hitmonlee is going to have the X speed, so it does have no retreat cost, and it's the Hitmonchan going into that active place. Sandslash is put online, and there it is, that first energy going onto Hitmonchan. The only one required, it can get 30 damage off with this jab onto Dratini. They're chipping away at its health. But now the Holon Allies have the Snom they can put online, and they've just pulled the Frostmoth, so they will be able to evolve it soon. As speaking of evolutions, there's that Dragonair being put online as well. There's the Snom being put onto the bench, but that Dragonair requires a water energy. It currently has 2 lightning energies, and we can see the next one that's going to be generated is another lightning energy in that energy zone, as the second Sandshrew is pulled for the Mellow Rumbles. The Rumbles can choose to just start setting up here, as Dragonair cannot yet go on the offensive. There's the first energy on the Sandslash, and there's that 30 damage on the Dragonair, having 40 health remaining. It's the Eevee for the Holon Allies. As we can see on the next turn, there will be a water energy, and there is that Jolteon for the Holon Allies, as well as the Allies can think about how they want to approach this, with that first lightning energy going down onto Eevee. And they also opt to retreat the Dragonair, putting that Frostmoth in place. They must want to get that Dragonite online, but they are yet to pull it, as the Professor's Research is pulled for the Mellow Rumbles. This will allow the full combat deck to draw both a Mankey from that Mythical Island set and a second Hitmonlee. They've also got the I believe it is the Promo A set, sorry, Mankey. That is the other Mankey they have in this deck, as the X-Speed now being played for the Rumbles, that second one being used so that Hitmonlee can go online in that active spot. Surely they're going to want to target that Dragonair, who is a huge threat. The Stretch Kick will do 30 damage, and they go for Dragonair. It has 10 health remaining. The Allies need to pull the Dragonite, and they pull the Dratini. That is not the card that they needed, but they immediately set up that Dratini as well, and they set up the Jolteon, who only requires a second energy of either type, as this Dragon's Frost deck does use water and lightning type energies. But they put the energy down onto Frostmoth, which means Hitmonlee will be free to target that Dragonair, as the potion is pulled for the Rumbles, but they've taken no damage so far in this matchup. There's the Stretch Kick, and they are going to focus onto Dragonair, taking that 30 damage. And there is that first point for the Mellow Rumbles, as they look to continue their winning ways here. There's the Professor's Research from the Holon Allies, which they immediately do play, and they are going to pull the Dragonite now and that second Frostmoth, but it is a little too late. However, they've got the Dragonair onto that second Dratini on the bench, as there is that water energy that they are going to put onto Frostmoth so it can start going on the offensive. The Powder Snow, 40 damage onto Hitmonlee, but it will also put it to sleep. The Melemele Rumbles need to flip the heads, and they get the tails. This is great for the allies because this will buy them a little bit of time, and they'll also be able to get that Hitmonlee off the field Pokeball from the Melemele Rumbles so they can get that second Mankey that is the promo A set Mankey that they can use in Season A1. But there is the potion to restore 20 health for the Hitmonlee. That is fantastic for them because now Frostmoth will not be strong enough to take it out, even with the 2 Giovannis that are in hand, as the Rumbles are thinking about how to go about their next play, thinking about putting the energy down on to Hitmonchan, but no, instead they are going to put the Mankey from that Mythical Island set into play. It only requires 1 energy. It is a coin flip offense, and speaking of coin flips, the Rumbles do get that heads for the Hitmonlee, so it will wake up at the end of this turn as we see happen now, but it is back over to the allies, so they can put it back to sleep as well. But the Dragonite is about to be put on the line. It requires 4 energy, and it requires at least 1 lightning and 1 water energy. However, they look like they're going to put... No, they're thinking about putting it on the Jolteon, but instead they do go with the Dragonite. That Jolteon already has a lightning energy. It only requires 1 more as well. There's another 40 damage banned under the Hitmonlee, and once again, it is back asleep. And another coin flip. The Rumbles get the head, so this is fantastic because they can target either the Jolteon or the Dragonite. There's that second Sand Slash for the Rumbles as well. Quite a full hand as we can see, but no Primeape. Rumble is thinking about their next approach, whether or not they're willing to sacrifice the Hitmonlee or if they want to go on the offense with either the Sandslash or the Mankey. And they are going to retreat the Hitmonlee, and they choose to put that Sandslash into play. It will be able to do 70 damage to the Frostmoth. 1 more move and it will be taken out, but it can still put this Sandslash to sleep as the second Dragonite is now pointless, but it has been pulled for the Holon allies. There's another lightning energy onto the Dragonite. We can see that there's a water energy waiting to be generated, which is fantastic because that is what that Dragonite needs before it can even have a hope of doing anything, as well as needing that 4th energy placed on it. But there's 50 damage banned onto the Sandslash and being put to sleep by the Frostmoth. Another coin flip, and it's a tails this time for the Rumbles. This is great for the allies because Frostmoth could potentially take out Sandslash on the next turn, with another Giovanni being used as a promo has been pulled from the Mythical Island set for the Rumbles. They could evolve this Mankey because there is nothing they can do with this Sandslash right now. They do flip the coin, they still get the tails, but it wouldn't matter because that Frostmoth would be able to take it out in this coming turn. As we see the potion as well for the Holon allies, they can restore that 20 health for Frostmoth. They've got another one in hand as well, so they could actually get it back up to 60 health. And that's great for the allies because the Rumbles looked in full control, but the allies have been able to slow them down. There's that 3rd energy onto the Dragonite, and another Giovanni being used for the Frostmoth so it can take out this Sandslash. And finally the allies have gotten their first point, only 1 point to both sides in this game 1 of this best of 3 series. Now the Rumbles need to think about who they're going to switch in next, as that timer does tick down for them to make this decision. They opt to go with the Hitmonchan, who can get that 30 damage onto the Frostmoth, but there's the second Primeape being pulled for the Rumbles. They've practically, if I am correct, they have all of their Pokemon in hand. It is only trainer cards they have left, but they are going to use that Genetic Apex Primeape and put that down onto the Mankey and the Hitmonchan with the 30 damage onto the Frostmoth. So there's 1 Mankey on the bench and a Primeape for the Rumbles. They pull the second Jolteon to the Holon allies, and they get this 4th energy onto the Dragonite. We can get the Powder Snow from the Frostmoth, but they opt to retreat it. They're just going on the offensive with the Dragonite. They are not waiting. They go for the Draco Meteor. 200 damage divided evenly, but that means it takes out the Hitmonlee and it takes out the Mankey, and the Holon allies have just taken game 1. Dragonite, a massive threat. It's such a quick and sudden ending to that game 1, but it is the Holon allies going first here in game 2 with that red and blue deck. It will be the Rocky Boulders deck for the Melemele Rumbles. We see that Eevee placed down in the active spot for the allies. It's Geodude for the Rumbles with Onyx on the bench. They've already got that Graveler in hand and the 2 Mienshowers. They need a Mienfoo though. And the allies do have that Pokeball that they will be able to play as they pull their blue card. They've got the red card as well, plus that second blue supporter and the X speed. But here it is, they play the Pokeball, they get that Staryu out of their deck, and they are going to place that down onto the bench, but they won't be able to put an energy down yet. Instead, they're just going to use the blue to try and reduce that damage by 10 from the Geodude, who has that super effective damage because that colorless Eevee is weak to the fighting types. And they play the red card as well, as it is the Golem from the Genetic Apex and the Mienfoo plus the Pokeball for the Melamela Rumbles being pulled as they have to reset their hand. The Rumbles now pulling the Leaf as well. They're going to play that Pokeball that they pulled immediately, not waiting around, pulling their second Onix here. And it is the Mienfoo that they immediately put onto the bench, as Geodude now can go on the offensive with this tackle. It will get that extra damage done, but also that blue card that was played will reduce it by 10, so it's only 30 damage being done to the Eevee, but still this Geodude can take it out in the next turn. There's the second X speed for the Holon Allies. And it is a fire energy that the Allies have, so they put it down onto the Eevee and they are going to go on the offensive, so they're willing to give up this Eevee, knowing that Staryu would not have been able to do anything. It is the Graveler for the Melamela Rumbles being pulled, and it only requires a second energy, so this Lungeat is going to do a lot of damage to this Eevee, a little bit excessive, but every additional bit of damage will count towards the leaderboard, and that could be crucial, even though the Melamela Rumbles have yet to lose a game, and that is the most important part. There's that 60 damage being done to Eevee to get that first point once again for the Melamela Rumbles in Game 2. It is Staryu being put in that active spot, as the Allies are able to pull the Druddigon with that Rough Skin ability, so any Pokemon that attacks it will get that 20 recoil damage as well. But Staryu only requires 1 energy here to go on the offensive with this Smack. It will only do 20 damage to the Graveler, but a good bit of chip damage here, as that Golem is in hand. If it does go on the offensive, it will get 30 recoil damage. It's the second Graveler being pulled for the Melamela Rumbles, but they can afford the time to start setting up Mienfoo and Onix, as the Lungeat, 40 damage to the Staryu here, not enough to take it off the board unfortunately. And there is the Flareon now being pulled for the Holon Allies, a little too late though, because Eevee has already been taken off the board, Druddigon receiving its first energy, but it requires a fire energy as well, 3 in total to do damage, at least 1 fire and 1 water, as another 20 damage being done to the Graveler. Professor's Research from the Melamela Rumbles, and they are going to pull that second Leaf card plus the Giovanni for that additional damage when they want to use it. With this Lungeat, they are able to take out this Staryu, and it only requires 1 more energy for that Golem to get online with some offenses as well. Again, we did mention that it will get the recoil damage from a Druddigon attack, but it will still have the power to take it out in 1 turn. There's the second Eevee for the Holon Allies. They can play it down, but there's not much that this red and blue deck can do right now. They're not even going to generate a fire energy in the next turn. They do play the blue to reduce the damage from 10 by 10, so from the Melamela Rumbles, but the Rumbles can get completely online here with this Golem. They put it down, they're not wasting any time, they get that 4th energy onto it, and it is about to wipe this Druddigon off the board with the double edge, even if with the reduced damage, 140, there is 50 recoil damage for the Golem, plus the 20 extra from Druddigon's Rough Skin ability, but the Melamela Rumbles absolutely dominated Game 2 here. And this is our Game 3 to determine the winner of this series. The Allies have flipped heads, they will be going first with this Liquid Metal deck going up against that Battler's Spirit deck. There is the Eevee, the Pawniard, the Mawile, and the Meltan all in hand for the Holon Allies, plus that Professor's Research. They do opt to go with the Mawile, in that active spot, as they can also think about who they may want to put on the bench. They do opt for the Pawniard and that Eevee with that continuous steps move as well that can do a great deal of damage if they get enough heads. The Cubone, the only basic Pokemon for the Melamela Rumble, is being put down onto the active spot as well, as it's the Bishop being pulled for the Holon Allies. The Professor's Research does get played as well. They're able to draw that second Eevee plus the Misty. The Misty is crucial because of that Vaporeon. There are no water energies generated for this deck. It's only metal, so that is how they will get the water energy onto the Vaporeon, as the Professor's Research from the Rumbles gets them the second Machoke plus a potion. They have just pulled that all-important Marshadow as well with that crucial revenge, as the Rumbles are going to think about how they may want to approach this next turn. They do put that first energy on the Cubone, allowing it to do the growl, which could be fantastic because it will actually offset the Mawil's 20 damage, causing it to do 0. Now the Holland Allies playing that Pokeball, they get the second Meltan in hand as well, helping to thin out that deck a little bit, but they get their first energy here onto the Mawile, and they do get down that Bishop as well. There's the crunch, it will do 0. Thanks to that growl from Cubone, but it is the coin flip. They're trying to get rid of that energy that is on the Cubone, and they get the head, so Cubone's energy does get discarded. The Rumbles need to think about how they may want to approach this next turn as they pull the second Cubone as well. And we do know that Cubone can do no damage, but neither can Mawile as long as Cubone keeps going for this growl. But it is going to allow both sides to set up. However, Mawile wants to keep flipping these heads to keep causing the Rumbles to lose their energy. They do get that second Mawile in hand now as well, and the first energy onto that Bishop. It only requires 2 to do that 70 damage, which will take out the Cubone. But again, this crunch will do 0. It's the coin flip that is the important part for the Holland Allies. And again, they get the head, so Cubone is going to lose that energy once again. The Rumbles probably getting very frustrated here as they pull their second Marshadow. And immediately they're going to play that down as well. Marshadow requires 2 energy to do this revenge. It does do 40 damage plus the additional 60 if they have just lost a card, or if the Holland Allies are able to take out one of the Melemele Rumbles in the turn prior to that. Hopefully I explained that well enough for anyone who doesn't understand, as the Pokeball from the Holland Allies does get played. They pull out the Pawniard as well, so now they've got 2 Pawniards. Well, the first Pawniard is having that energy put onto it as it's now a Bishop, but they do have the 2 Pawniards that have been pulled, and the Eevees, and the Mawiles, and the Meltans. No more basic Pokemon for the Holland Allies, as the Metal Claw is going to take out Cubone here, which is fantastic for the Allies because they do get that first point, but the Rumbles only need to put 1 more energy onto this Marshadow that they have just put into the active spot, and in doing so, it is going to take out this Bishop. And the Rumbles are not messing about either. They do use that revenge. 100 damage. Bishop has been taken out of this contest. A fantastic response by the Melemele Rumbles here, as the Allies do put that Mawile back into the active spot, and they pull their second Misty, but they are still yet to pull a Vaporeon. And they seem a little reluctant to want to put that Eevee into the active spot, although if it could get enough coin flips, it could take out this Marshadow in 1 turn, as Mawile with the crunch gets that 20 damage onto the Marshadow. Another coin flip, and this time it is the tails. The Rumbles must be breathing a sigh of relief, because this will allow them to start distributing their energies to other Pokemon besides the one that is in the active spot, putting that energy for the first time on that second Marshadow here, as that revenge will only do 40 damage this time to that active Mawile. But now we finally see the Melmetal. They can start setting up this Meltan. It does require 4 energy though for Melmetal to start going on the offensive. However, its ability, thankfully, reduces damage taken by 20 as the crunch again onto this Marshadow. It will be another coin flip. They're willing to give up the Mawile. They unfortunately get another Tails, but this Marshadow can take out Mawile here, who only has 30 health remaining. There it is, that second energy being put onto the second Marshadow. They still have to pull a Machop, have the Rumbles, but they've got 2 Marchokes and 2 Marchamps in hand. They use the potion on the Marshadow, restore 20 health, as they are going to use that revenge and get that second point here. They only need 1 more to win the series. The Allies still need 2 points, as the Rumbles have just taken the lead. And the Allies opt to put that Meltan into the active spot as they finally pull a Vaporeon. That could be crucial here because they've got those 2 Misties. They can play that down immediately. but they can only use one of them per turn as it is a supporter card. They need to flip 3 heads. And they get the tails on the first one, so there are no water energies being generated this turn. So they need to decide what are they going to do with Meltan. They can evolve it now and have that damage reduced, but that amass by Meltan will get an extra energy generated. So this is where the allies really need to decide how they're going to approach this turn. And they choose to go with the amass, so they're going to keep the Meltan on the field. They get that 3rd energy, onto it. It only requires 1 more energy so that Melmetal can get online. But the Rumbles have an opportunity to put some damage onto this Meltan. They're looking through their hand, they're going to play that potion. Meltan, Marshadow, is now at full strength. It will be able to get 40 damage onto this Meltan. They also get an energy onto that Cubone that is on the bench, and here's the revenge, 40 damage. Meltan is about to be evolved though. And the allies do pull the 2nd Melmetal, but they're also going to play this Misty as well. Another coin flip, and it's another Tails. They get no water energies this game onto the Vaporeon. It is now useless, but they get that 4th energy onto the Meltan. And here's the Melmetal. It is online. It will take negative 20 damage from attacks, but here's the heavy impact. It will take out this Marshadow. Melmetal has 90 health remaining. Marshadow can only do 100 damage. The Rumbles do put it into play, and there is a crucial reason for this. They pull the Marowak. The Marowak is irrelevant. The card in hand that is relevant is the Giovanni. The Giovanni will cause that revenge to do 110 damage minus the 20 because of Melmetal's ability, but that will give it 90 damage, and that will be enough to keep the Melemele Rumbles win streak alive. They have still yet to drop a series here in the PokeType League TCG A1 season. They have gone 4-0 to start off this season. They are well on top of the leaderboard. This is massive for them. But with that, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought the best card was. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, send thanks. And I'll see you when you see me.